How many horse riders did Bakhtiyar Khilji have with him when he attacked Gouda? 17, 19, 20? Well, the figure continues to be debated, but it was never more than 2 dozen, right? Did Lakshman Sen flee because he was not prepared for a battle? Or did he flee because Navadip was not his fortified capital? Okay, how did the local rulers resist his attack when Bakhtiyar Khilji destroyed Nalanda? The monks, of course, put up some kind of passive resistance. They did continue with their classes and with their rituals, even as the army approached. Some local chiefs and the guards of the university tried out something impulsive, but that was not a fight. That was not a proper resistance fight, right? It looks like once the resistance zone of India, that is the Punjab, Sindh, the Rajputana, Delhi region, fell. The heartland of India turned into a kind of cake of cheese around a knife. And Bengal, which was always so prosperous, so green, so comfortable, um, it never was ready for a war. However, what happened when this invader, Bakhtiyar Khilji, pushed farther northeast? It was here in northeast that he faced a stiff wall of resistance, stubborn, unbending, unknown to the element of fear, unfamiliar with the element of accommodativeness. How would you describe that impulse, that fierce love of freedom? Let's examine. Born free in nature's embrace, the Northeasterner is a free creature. He cherishes freedom fiercely. Life is a constant fight to secure the uninhibited, irrepressible freedom that nature promises, allowing him to live a life of unbridled joy. Nature, to protect his independent spirit, has uh, equipped the Northeasterner with a unique defense mechanism, a rebellious impulse that ignites instant fury at any perceived threat to their natural freedom. A natural rebel, the Northeasterner is. He is prone to go ballistic at the slightest provocation. His love of freedom is unlike any conceivable sense of patriotism. It almost borders on closed mindedness. If he believes an alien is weighing on him, he will not pause to see what power he has to resist. First things first, he will charge. If one strives to write the history of the region, one will have to fill out the bulk of the pages with stories of battles and fights, clashes and conflicts, encounters and confrontations. Everything else pales into insignificance if your stories are those of those furious resistance against ambitious neighboring tribes or reason-defyingly audacious battles against mammoth invading forces. Organized political powers in the region put up fights. This region put up well defined battles against invading forces, and unorganized tribes and communities flared up in insurrectionary uprisings. But even the most well defined battles in the history of the region were never free from the essential northeastern element of insurrectionism. Yes, this element etched in the psyche of the northeasterner is insurrectionism. Most of them, most of the northeasterners uh, fought battles, fought almost entirely on the strength of this innate insurrectionary impulse. Otherwise, how could the small powers of the Northeast inflict such incredibly devastating defeats on great invading forces like the Turks, the Mughals, the British, before whom the great powers of India uh, just failed to stand? Let's touch upon some of the you know, events of rising against alien invaders and uprising against uh, oppressive rulers that defines the that define the lover of freedom, that is the northeasterner. Kamrup is not merely the name of an ancient kingdom. It is as much a socio-cultural entity as it is political. Over the millennia, this region's relationship with mainland India determined the social, political, and cultural shape of Northeast India. Once part and parcel of ancient Kamrup, Kamtapur, the lost kingdom, is a dismal remainder of the grandeur that was ancient Kamrup. Bakhtiyar Khilji's so-called conquest had already brought Bengal to its knees. What this Turk faced when he moved farther northeast toward Kamrup was altogether a different experience. Prithu, the then king of Kamrup, met the deceitful invader with matching craftiness. After becoming the effective ruler of Bengal, uh, Khalji set out with a 12,000 strong cavalry force to conquer Tibet. The scheming invader also intended to annex Kamrup along the way. Some historians even suspect that Tibet was only the cover story and the Kamrup was the real target. Alimech, one of the first converts in the region, a local guide Khilji employed to show him the way, led Khilji uh, towards a great stone bridge on the frontier of Kamrup. Prithu was watchful of Khilji's moves and was making extensive preparations. Khilji sent messengers to Prithu, asking him to provide whatever help he could for his mission of invading Tibet. Prithu replied that he was in no position to help him at the moment, and it was not either the right time to invade Tibet. Khilji's forces, however, did not stop pressing forward. There were ominous tales about Khilji. He was said to be a giant of man. His hands, it is said, reached below his knees when extended. When he had raised the great Nalanda University, some years earlier. The monks there begged him to kill them but spare the manuscripts. Khilji obliged the first request but not the second one. Priceless collections of manuscripts kept burning for months in Nalanda. Perhaps it was this billowing trail of destruction uh, behind Khilji that prompted the king of Kamrup to take the safest and cruelest and most pragmatic route available to him. Prithu knew his ponies were no match for Khilji's Turkish horses. His army too was not big enough to take Khilji head on. His preparation thus involved uh, the most patient weapon in the book, that is hunger. After a few marches into the unfamiliar landscape, Khilji realized the danger of proceeding any further. The country he was marching through uh, was, literally scorched to cinders. For miles, there were no signs of human habitation or fodder. The experienced warrior knew that ignoring the warning signs might lead to catastrophe. He decided to pull out, ordered his forces to turn back, and retraced his steps towards the stone bridge. But alas, Prithu was waiting for him there. The middle section of the bridge had been dismantled, and Prithu's soldiers had taken position on the far bank. Khilji realized it was deeper trouble than he had anticipated. He herded his soldiers into a nearby Hindu temple uh, for safety. Prithu did not storm the temple. He simply began forming a barricade around it. Khilji understood that he would be trapped there, and he preferred to die fighting than die uh, without battle inside a Hindu temple. Deciding this, he ordered his soldiers to plunge into the river and swim for the other bank. Khilji must have gambled that while he would lose some men in the crossing, some would surely make it to the other bank. But Prithu's preparations were foolproof. Thousands of archers rained arrows on Khilji's soldiers as they grappled with their mounts midstream. Prithu made sure that almost none of Khilji's soldiers reached the other bank. Khilji, the Tabakat-i-Nasiri, the Persian chronicle written by Minhaj Shiraz, records that Bakhtiyar Khilji barely escaped with his own life, and that no more than 100 of his soldiers made it home with him alive. The destroyer of Nalanda had met his nemesis the moment he dared to invade northeast. It was the first Muslim invasion of the region, and no other invasion in the history of the country witnessed such a complete rout. Khilji himself never recovered from the humiliation. Within 3 months, one of his own senior officials relieved him of the heartbreak permanently. Bengal's rulers were sure to strike back. I mean, Bengal was now, ruled by Muslim invaders. The Muslim rulers of Bengal were sure to strike back. and Prithu was ready for them. Second invasion soon followed, led by Ghiyazuddin Iwas Khilji. Though the chronicle's own timeline puts this roughly 2 decades after the first, uh, not on its heels. Uh, it is said to have met the same fate as the first invasion. A larger reckoning followed, this time backed by the weight of Delhi itself. Under Nasruddin Muhammad, by this point, tradition holds Prithu and his subjects had grown weary from the repeated invasions. Prithu decided to take the battle far from his capital. He built forts on the southern frontier of the kingdom, then leaving the kingdom to his son Sandha. He marched out to meet the enemy on ground of his own choosing. The fort he raised there was an impregnable stronghold, a 3 kilometer wall of packed black soil, then a sandbar, then a bamboo screen, and at the center a brick and stone enclosure for the king's family. Grain was stocked and a pool dug for water. When the fort could hold no longer against the sheer scale of the attacking army, the king, so the tradition goes, flung himself into that pond, choosing death over surrender. Everyone in this country with a high school education knows about Puras and his valiant fight against Alexander. Very few Indians know the valor of Prithu, the Kamrup king. If you like this exploration of Northeast history, please stay tuned, subscribe, and stay with us. Thank you.